So welcome, Arville. We have Arville Thompson here today talking about the fire department, some of the history. Arville, you were a member of the Detroit Lakes Fire Department for many, many years. What years?
Well, I joined in 1961 until 86. Let's see, where were we now? Oh, we'll start with the Norby's fires. A little history on that. And people noticed that they was, all them buildings were all built out of wood. They had huge beams in the basement. And I delivered freight, so I was acquainted with all that. Well, when Norby's had the first fire, which was an arson, it wasn't really bad, but it was bad enough. And what saved it was the sprinkler system. And the history about that was, one time Jim Norby, who had taken over from his dad, and he called me up, so I went over and met with him. And he was a very good businessman, very professional. And he said, I've got something here, I want you to, what do you think about sprinkler system? He said, my whole building is all built out of big timbers downstairs, big wood. And they've been remodeled 2 or 3 times. So he said, the cost, this sprinkler system wants to come in, sprinkle it, and here's what it's going to cost. And I said, well, Jim, how much he was telling me how much he would save in, because the insurance companies looked at them big buildings and he had all them, stores, because he'd taken over about 3 different stores. He took over the Hope's Barber Shop, or Hope's Beauty Shop, and the barber shop. And then they had the Norby's, and they had, on the end, they had I think it was a hardware store or something earlier. So they owned all these buildings, but they're all connected downstairs. And an elevator for them. Well, anyway, I told him, we'll find out what it is, and he said, well, here's the deal. He said, what I would save in insurance, well, a little over 10 years is going to pay for what it's going to cost to put that in, because the high expense for that was, upstairs they remodeled twice, and between each ceiling there was a sprinkler system. Because they had the way on top was the old tin roof, and they had sprinkler systems, and they put in a ceiling. Well, then they remodeled again, so they put another ceiling lower, another ceiling lower. So between all these had the sprinkler. So it's very smart that he did that, because if he wouldn't have done that, the sprinkler system made the fire department look real good. The sprinkler system put it out. We went and finished it off. But that first one was a fire upstairs, and the guys went in and the sprinklers were going off upstairs, but not the whole building. Well, they got up the stairs and line, and here they found a little fire had been built. There's a clothes rack with all women's clothes up there, and somebody started a fire right there. Well, funny part of it was, they come down and says, here, we found this leather glove up there. It's new. Where's the other one? That's what one old fireman says. He says, well, Chief, if you find out who's got the other one, you got who was upstairs. So that's kind of.
About anyway, what year was that?
I knew you were going to ask that stuff. I was going to tell you all this stuff. I don't have the years. I'm going to go back and get years on this. But anyway, come downstairs, and there was a back where trucks up to unload freight, and they did a lot of smoke damage in there, and a little bit of water damage, not much, but it was all covered. Well, I'm standing there and talking to the cop, Gundy name, came, and he said, what caused it? Well, he said, we've got this glove, and we find out it's brand new. Gundy says, don't turn around now. Why? Because the guy that's got the other glove is looking out that window upstairs across the street in an apartment house. Okay. Well, this handicapped kid was in, I suppose he was 15, 16. His mother worked there, and she got fired for theft. So the kid took it out on Norby's. Well, Gundy says, give me that glove. So he got to the car and drove around the block, and the stairs went upstairs. The light lunch was downstairs, the alley going right behind the bank. Well, they take it all over now, tore it all down. But there was a beauty shop down below, and then the stairs going upstairs. And he knocked at the door, and The woman coming, you want to see Bobby. And he got him out there, and Gunny says, "You seen this glove?" "Oh, that's the glove I lost today. I wonder where I lost it." He says, "Over where you started the fire." So that handled that, but what saved that deal, the same thing was, if that fire would have gotten into that attic, to all that old timber, that's why I'm surprised that they remodeled it like they did. I hope they've got it, you know, they had the sprinkler system in. But Jim Norby, by putting that sprinkler system in, was what saved that whole part of the block. I mean, that was a big piece. That, if he wouldn't have done that, that would have been gone. If we couldn't have stopped that. We wouldn't have had enough water and not enough, you know.
Sure.
So, and then the second fire, that was a little different. I had a call with the fire norms again. I thought, what in the world's going on? Well, this highway trooper happened to come into town for coffee, and he seen this big flare up and looked, and he seen a guy run across in front of the windows. What this guy did, he broke in the back. They're gonna steal some stuff. In the back, he come up the back door, there was a glass door. He spun around the back and threw his lights on, so the guy couldn't come out. The front doors were locked. Anyway, the guy hit him in the front corner. Well, what he'd done, he had a gallon of Coleman gas fuel, lighter fuel. And down right before you go up the stairs of the office, there was a place where they had bolts of claws. You see them stand on end. And they were all polyester, burned good. He dumped this on top of that whole thing and lit it. And as he lit it, the patrolman went by and he saw him. Well, when we came right away, the sprinklers were going off, and it was we hooked up to that too. But the sprinklers were taking so much water from the water main. The water main on Washington Avenue wasn't big enough to handle that big fire and the trucks. Because I sent one of the guys over to hook the big pumper up, the next block up, and he come back and he said the most pressure he could get on the gauge was 10 pounds. And that sprinkler system was taking all that water. Yeah, I think there was about 35 heads open. That's a lot of water. And they were pouring a lot of water in there, but it saved it. So we went in there. On the way in there, I said, well, the patrolman says, there were 3 cops back there. He says, well, we'll wait here while you go in. Because there was a lot of smoke in there, and there's a little bit of fire on the thing. So 2 guys went in, and I went in. One of the deputies came behind me. Well, he happened to carry a .45 mag with him. We got nothing. It's not really funny, but as we got in there, you couldn't hardly see. And this one older fireman was on the lead. He went in and started spraying out this leftover fire. All of a sudden, we heard halt, halt, bang. He shot at this guy. Come on, started running to the back door, and he shot at him twice to try to hit his legs and missed him. Well, there was another deputy standing in the back door with a 12-gauge shotgun. He stopped that far from the end of the barrel. And the patrolman of Standback, the highway patrolman, good thing he was there. He had this other guy was just shaking. But, so, I mean, he was caught. He went away for a while. But that was a major, major fire because, I mean, it totally destroyed it. When you have all them sprinkler heads, because the fire got so hot so fast, it kicked off all them sprinklers. So they went in there, of course, they had to came and got it, and insurance covered everything. But if Jim Norby would not have put that sprinkler system in, that store would not have been there. The whole thing, probably that end of the block would have been all gone.
Sure.
So that's another little history. Totally about the bowling alley fire. Well, then one time I was gone, the bowling alley in the corner burnt, and upstairs is the Oddfellows Club, which is still there. The Becks owned the building, but it burnt the bowling alley and stuff, so that they went out of business. Then another fire we had one day, it was kind of cold, and we got a call to Big 5 Co-op gas station. That'd be about where the post office is. And their delivery truck, they had backed up in the backyard, and he was filling a fuel tank in the basement for the furnace. Well, he was in BSing with the guy inside, forgot about the hose, and it didn't kick off. And it flooded downstairs. Well, when the furnace kicked in, bang, she went.
Yeah.
Well, I know I wound up sitting on the roof of the Greystone garage, the hose around the vent pipe to hold me up there. And I was up there for about 2 hours spraying water on this. And the only thing they saved there was some of the supplies in the far back garage. Let's see, where are we gonna go from there? Well, then we got called to where the city used to have a great big generating plant in the big parking lot behind where Buggs is, and they had a coal bin fire, and that was how do you put out coal? You know?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a miserable one, and it wasn't. There was no damage to the building or nothing, but it did. You know, took a lot of water and a lot of mess to get that out. Then we had next thing we had a Baptist church fire on Sunday. A beautiful church, rock built, and sat right where the library is now. Sat right over there, and that's the closest I come to getting a roof fall on me. Me and two guys went in the front, and the problem with the building was it was balloon construction. What that meant was the outside they built a rock wall all the way around, just like the home school fire. And then inside they built they have to build a square,
right.
see?
Mm-hmm.
So they built a building inside the rock wall. Well, the fire was between the walls, and they had a full basement, and they were having Sunday school. What happened was there was a fella brought his kids from Lake Park every Sunday for Sunday school. And this one kid was a little violent and he was about 12, 13 years old. He went in the back storeroom and lit it on fire and come out. And it wasn't until people upstairs realized what was going on. And once that fire got into around the balloon construction, you can't even drown it out.
Right.
But we went in the front door, and they had a big bell tower up on top. And the chief at that time come hollering, "You got to get out of there, get out of there." Well, we come out of there, and just as we were coming out of the hole, the bell tower fell down. So we would have lost at least 3 of us. And that was an arson fire. But that was a beautiful church. Let's see, then we go to, we had a trailer house fire by Schultz Garage. And that was a bad one because a gal had been killed and left to burn in the bed. And we went in and put the trailer house out. She was a waitress at Baber's truck stop. And her boyfriend had got in a fight and he killed her in trying to burn her up. But then we go to the homeschool fire, which was a Jim Dandy. We were coming from the north side, I'd come back on my daughters, got this call to the homeschool fire. Well, the homeschool, for years, I graduated from high school there. I went through, from country school we came there, I went through 7th, 8th grade there, and I went through high school there. And the main big old part was burning. Then the part that's still there now, the center,
Is the new
that
part,
was the new
right?
part,
Yeah.
but they had fire doors.
Okay.
That's when you seen a fire door save the building. We had guys up there. But why that took off was we finally found it. It was started. It's kind of funny because, in a way, not funny. It's bad to lose a place like that, but the school didn't know what they're going to do with it and want to give it away, so they sold it to the city for $1. So the city owned it. So they had a city guy who took care of the building. He was watching, and they had sprinkled the entire building. Ultra modern, that building and the building next door.
Yeah.
Well, what happened was, when the city got it, they shut off the sprinkler system.
Wasn't somebody working on pipes or something,
Yeah.
I heard? Yeah.
Well, here's the funny part. Wasn't funny. I shouldn't say that because it wasn't funny, but it's kind of odd. They worked to put all them sprinkler systems in there.
Yeah.
Well, then, a friend of mine was head of the pipe fitters union. And they'd gone to the city and asked them, because they had a lot of big pipe in there, and they have trouble getting pipe. To teach welders how to weld pipe, you got to know what you're doing. So he got permission to go in and remove the sprinkler system. Well, what they didn't realize, and the guy that took care of it, and they didn't call me or nobody, the fire department, we'd been right on the ball. Don't go near the walls because of the balloon system. Well, the fire was actually started downstairs in the cafeteria. We found that out. Rusty and Tom and I went on. What they'd done is they were cutting this pipe out. Well, the walls were plaster and lath over the wood. The rest was all stone behind it. Well, when there's one guy going to save more pipe, and he cut too far into the wall. Well, they caught a fire and going in. Well, of course, they've been cutting pipe out of there all the time. Then most of the pipe out of there, there's a lot of smoke in there. When we first got there, it was hard to find a fire.
Right.
But it wasn't long to chase us out. Because once I started to burn, I thought to myself, they put all this oil on them floors every year. And I mean, it was, humongous. And when it starts down below like that, and then when I come from town and see it coming through the roof, I said, ooh, another bonfire. There's nothing we had a lot of departments in there. In fact, for a town this size, and the population is less than 10,000, when they built it, it was about 7,500. When they replaced the water tank, if you would drive around other little towns, or smaller towns, medium-sized towns, here we got a 1 million gallon water tank they built for the future. Good thing they did, because anytime we had a big fire, usually the Greg Sherman was good. He was there because he came to talk to me. He said, how long you got to be going to be pumping that heavy? And because we had pumpers all over pumping into putting us out. We'd start it back down. By that time, we'd use 1.5 million gallons of water.
Wow.
And he says, the high lift, he said, I kicked all the high lift pumps in. He says, we're losing on it. He said, the water tank right now is 33% left in it. You got to start backing down. So, but they got all fresh water. But just think if they wouldn't have built it, even with the high lift pumps, we would not have been able to pump that amount of water out of there.
Yeah.
And we probably pumped excess, but we were just trying to, save what we could.
Yeah, a lot of people had such an attachment to that building, of course, from going to school there. I was just a little girl and growing up in Moorhead, and my parents were so upset we had to drive to Detroit Lakes the next day to look at the burned down building.
See, I was born in Fargo and moved from West Fargo here in '45, and we had a little farm south of the lake, and we went to country school. Well, this was something that they did. They consolidated the rural school districts with the town over Christmas. And I think of this day, all them teachers had to be sweethearts. Because if you think, bring all these country kids in after, because the country superintendent and the city didn't get along.
Right.
So they all had different books. So when we came in, everything was new to us. And just think that the work them teachers had to try to teach us farm kids from the middle of a book.
Right.
Yeah. I had a tough time in school till I didn't get back up on the B honor roll until I was in sophomore, and I started there in my 8th grade, after Christmas. And Grant Johnson was superintendent, and he worked with them and worked with the teachers. But when I think about that now, I wonder. But we lost a lot of rural kids.
Yeah.
Some transferred to the Crookston Farm School, and some dropped out, and it was just too tough.
Yeah.
I wasn't, happy either, but made it through.
You hung in there.
Hung in there. But I think a lot of them, them teachers, they had to be, and they were good. We had some great teachers, but had to move on. Can I change pages now?
You can. You can change pages. This is your show. You can do whatever.
Well, I just wrote down the major ones. Let's start with another, I don't know, were you going to the Builder's Material Supply building? You know where Hartman Hide and Fur was?
Mm-hmm, yep.
All right. you drive in a back way. There's a great, big, huge building in there. What it was built by Busty Taylor that owned Wilcox Lumber. He had 17 yards all around, and that was the supply point. All that stuff came in there mostly by truck, by train. And I know when we went in there, they had piles and piles of plywood all over. This thing was really burning. And what happened was, I unloaded freight there a lot. The back, had to pull in the back of semi all the way around to get to the dock. But they load their trucks, and their trucks would go out of their different yards all the time, supply. So I was in there 2 or 3 times a week. And so was everybody else. Well, what happened was they built this canopy thing out, finally, to load 2 trucks at a time, but so it wouldn't rain on the people, see? Well, anyway, what happened was, and I was with the Boys Club for years, and this is one of my graduates, lived close by, and one of the firemen came and he said, "You gotta come and see this." What they'd done, they had 2 trucks backed in there for delivery. They were gas trucks. And what they did was took the gas cap off and lit a match to see if there was any gas in it.
Oh,
Because they found his glove and they found his cap. And he says, "It's burnt." So we find a kid that's burnt, we know who did it. I said, "I know right where to go." So I called city police. And I said, "Go over and talk to." I gave him the name, talked to him. And so he said, "We'll go talk to Chief to him." See, go. I was only on the way to the old dump road, and this kid came to the door. Well, he got his mother, and the kid came to the door, and no eyebrows. Part of his hair was gone, where the cap didn't fit. And they said, "Were you over and started that fire?" "What fire?" He was a Native American boy that was a little bit slow, and he was a good kid, but I had him in the Boys Club for 5, 6 years. Always, I never took nothing. As he got older, he changed.
Yeah.
But builder's material supply, then Wilcox Lumber sold out, and then they finally sold that out too, and that was a supply company. But kind of funny when they came in, we put all the fire out. We had a lot of help with it. They burnt the roof off and everything. But here, this main floor we saved, and here were all these big pallets, or big, as they come off the railroad car, big piles of plywood. Well, all the plywood had a little bit of burn all the way around it. So the outfit of the salvage company came in. They bought the whole thing from the insurance company, and they'd have to take these all this plywood. It was burnt only about this far in, and well, it wouldn't be 4 by 8 sheets. So you'd have to, but I mean, everything was good. So
right.
That was their problem. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, had a house fire, the Water Tank Hill. And it's back in the days. When I first joined, we didn't have air masks and stuff. That's why I've got COPD, my lungs are shot. Because we went into, it used to be that the firemen say, "Well, we'll find out how good a fireman you are, how much smoke you can eat." Well, that's a little different than we got now. The material stuff burning now will kill you. Back then it was, natural stuff. But all these polyesters and stuff, they're deadly to firemen.
Yeah.
So we'd go in these fires and put them out and stuff without, you'd come out coughing and choking. I did this for 10 years. And then we got air masks. But anyway, we had this fire right across the cemetery on Rossman Avenue. And it was in the basement someplace. And we just gotten 2 new air masks. They were the small ones. They were just, and the one guy had been trained on the other one. Wasn't. So the assistant chief put one on because the 2 guys went downstairs. Well, then this patrolman was standing on top of it, and he kept screaming this guy's name. Well, one guy come out, he says, "I don't know where he went. He was with me and left." Well, this chief had this little mask. He went down in there and found him and drug him out of there. But we pretty much lost him. He was out. We had 2 masks called Chemox masks, the old, like World War I, and they fit on, had a pack in there. and they work fine. But they do not work below grade with it. You got to have oxygen available, or that'll. And he got down there breathing, and then she plugged.
Yeah.
Well, he couldn't get out of there. Went the wrong way, and we found him. The guy found him in the water.
But he was okay.
Well, yeah, he was out then, but we drug him out. But he had some after effects for quite a while, and he'd do things that were strange. But he, I know when they got him to the hospital, they had 4 firemen sit with him, and he'd come on that bitch, just a little guy. He took 4 and no. It isn't really funny, but he survived. But that was scary.
Yeah.
And after that, they found money and bought us updated Scott air packs, and now everybody has one. And for many years, we only had them 2 Chemox, but they were fine. But don't go, all right for a grass fire, but don't go in below, where no oxygen is.
Right.
That was a scary one. Then we had a fire out by the airport. Got a call. We got out there, here a semi gas transport was in the ditch, tipped over, and gas was squirting out the breather hole on top. So we called, this guy that was hurt called. He brought trucks over and started pumping the gas out. What happened was, this guy, gas transport fellow, come over the hill, and local contractor guy had 2 guys out seal coating. And he had this pickup with tanks of tar on. He came out by the airport, pulled on the highway. Well, this tanker guy fell asleep at the wheel.
Oh my.
So he hit this, he didn't wake up till he hit this pickup. The guys were lucky. They went down through the trees, and I asked this guy, what happened to your mirrors? Mirrors? Hell, he said, I'm glad I'm alive. But what happened was, it spun that truck down, and he had them tanks in the back. The good thing they were there, held them down. But when he started swerving, they come falling off. The tanker tipped over and didn't ignite. And we just bought a 50-gallon drum of wet water. It's actually Dawn dish soap. And with that, what you do is an adapter, and it foams out, and it has foam. That's what we use for foam. We completely foamed down that truck until I got the gas pumped out of it. So, but we're lucky it didn't ignite. Of course, then the pollution control showed up. Oh. And they cleaned up that mess, get the truck out of there, and then we had to clean up. A friend of mine had a big loader. We had to haul the gas. The guy says the gas will go down to the water line. Well, it didn't. The gas was down about this deep in the sand, and that's as far as it went. It would have gradually gone. Well, he dug all that out. We hauled all that stuff out, and we dumped this foam on there. And the guy from the pollution control, he said, well, we've got an old road out here we've got for this purpose. Have them dump all that stuff out there, and we'll go out with guys and burn it. So I said, okay. Well, I knew right away, you're not going to burn it. It smells like gas, looks like gas, but it won't burn.
Right.
So anyway, the guy said, there they are, out with all their masks and their stuff on. They got these torches, and they're holding on there, get a little bit of fire. They won't burn. They had to let it vaporize. But learning.
Well, thank you, Arville. We'll have you back again. We always enjoy talking with you.
All right.